Hey guys, so I'm taking an extra few days, maybe even a full week, to really nail down the script for this week's video, because the week kind of got away from me, and it was either rush something out last night that I wasn't going to be proud of, and then rush through filming and editing today, or give it a few days, give it another week, and really make something that I'm going to be proud of. I'm doing this. Normally I just rush out stuff because I want to do weekly videos, but because it's a MASH book, I really want to make sure that I do it correctly. So I'm going to do an unscripted fillery video today. Because I can't just sit around and do nothing. I have to make something for you guys to watch. Also because I feel bad, cutting down the amount of videos I'm doing because I have the Patreon. And these people are paying to see videos early, and I haven't really been doing side videos all that often, so I feel a little bad. So we're going to do this. So today's video is going to be about The Disaster Artist, written by Greg Sestero and Tom Bissell. Obviously, this is what the movie was based on, and this is based on Greg Sestero's life and the making of The Room, and all of Greg's interactions with Tommy Wiseau. So if you didn't see my video when I saw the movie, I really liked the movie. It was a fantastic movie. Probably, if a new Star Wars movie hadn't come out and The Last Jedi hadn't been really good, I would have said best movie of 2017. But The Last Jedi kind of wins on the merit of it also being a Star Wars movie. But I think definitely that this book is one of the best books that I've ever read, really. And I want to do a video. This isn't ruling out a possible, full-length review of this in the future. I just want to do a little something while my thoughts are fresh in my mind, because I'm definitely not going to be getting to this for a while. So I want to at least have my thoughts out there. I initially started reading the book right after I saw the movie. I saw the movie, came home, went on Amazon, ordered the book. It came 2 days later, and then I started reading it. But because a lot of the stuff in the book was from the movie, I put it down for a while so that, the movie wouldn't be as fresh in my mind, so that I would, it wouldn't feel redundant. So I read the rest of it over the last few weeks, few days. Might have just been starting last week. Might have just been a week. But anyway, I read the book and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it is a wild ride, because the thing about the movie is that the movie is great. But like any adaptation, they cut a lot of stuff out and they shifted stuff around. For example, in the book, it's not presented as one long linear story. It's presented as two linear stories. One detailing the moment that Greg met Tommy Wiseau to when the production on The Room started, and then every other chapter is a chapter detailing the production of The Room. Now, I think also saving reading it for after having watched The Room and doing my review of The Room, I think that was a good idea, because the thing is, I had only seen reviews of The Room before seeing The Disaster Artist, so I didn't really know the full insanity of it, and now that I did, after having seen the movie and watched it for the review, it definitely packed more of a punch narratively. So I especially liked how in the book Greg Sestero gives us close to the end a hypothetical account of Tommy Wiseau's life prior to becoming Tommy Wiseau. The idea is that he came from some Eastern Bloc country many years ago, older than he claims to be. He claimed when he met Greg to be 5 or 6 years older than him. I don't think he is. He doesn't look like he is. But then again, he doesn't look like he's aged a day in 20 years, so... he came from an Eastern Bloc country, went to Paris, had a bad experience there, which is why he hates the French and the language and everything. Then he came to America, living with relatives in Louisiana, which is why he says he's from New Orleans. And then he eventually moved to California and somehow amassed a fortune, which is the craziest part because it doesn't even give, like, a logical explanation for his fortune. That part is still, like, in the hypothetical version, it's still, like, still very unbelievable. But then again, it's Tommy Wiseau, so I totally believe it. And then, eventually, because he owned, I don't know if he owns them anymore, I don't think he does, I think he mentioned selling them, but he owned, like, buildings in, like, prime real estate areas of California. So it's like he has a lot of money, and the money, the bank account being bottomless, which is what the bank teller actually said to the movie's script supervisor, which I thought was, I assume they put that in the movie as like a joke. When I found out that actually happened, I was like, what? Because, like, bank tellers aren't allowed to say stuff like that. I assume they put it in the movie because it was a funny joke, but it actually it happened according to this book. And I also really like that the book has pictures in the middle of it, because it really it adds an extra, like, degree of being able to visualize stuff when you get to see the pictures. Like, we've got Tommy and Greg, Tommy's pen that says Tommy's Planet. We've got, pictures of them from around the time of production. And there was also in it a really funny story, because I'm sure if you're a Tommy Wiseau fan, if you're just entranced by the utter train wreck aspect of everything, you've seen that Street Fashions commercial where he's doing Shakespeare. That was ripped off directly from Greg Sestera's demo reel that he cut after having done the movie Retro Puppet Master, which is hilarious because it is exactly something Tommy Wiseau would do, and it's not something you would immediately notice. Obviously, if you hadn't seen Retro Puppet Master, but it's just hilarious that he watched Greg's demo reel and said, I want to do that. And so, a lot of pictures from the production of The Room, and then from, other stuff. And I mean, really, it is mind-blowing, because if you look at these pictures, he doesn't look any different now. It is mind-blowing that he has not aged in, 50 years. It is amazing. Like I've said 15 times, I really like the book. It is a brilliant, brilliant book. And I think, if you've seen the movie, if you've seen The Disaster Artist and The Room and you haven't read the book, definitely read it, because it adds an extra layer of insanity to everything, and I think it is pretty amazing in how it does that. It's definitely one of those books that you read and then I know that I would read something and go, how did that actually happen? Because it's you can't imagine that any of the stuff in this could have actually occurred, but apparently it did, which is just mind-blowing. So I think that's really everything I wanted to say about it. I wanted to mention that there's awesome stories and anecdotes that didn't make it into the movie. I definitely think it's one of the best books I've read this year. I'm toying around with the idea of doing a best books I read this year, not necessarily books that were released this year, because I don't really follow new releases of books that closely unless it's an author that I like, and most of the authors I like aren't making books anymore. So this would definitely be on that list, even though I started reading it in December. But this would definitely be on the list. And I definitely recommend it. And if you guys want to see a full literary layer on this book at some point in the future, make sure to tell me in the comments. Yeah, I think that's about it. Check the book out. This isn't like a formal video, so I have no scoring system to give you. Just that I think this book is good, and I think it deserves a read if you have seen The Room or anything Tommy Wiseau related, because it adds a level of clarity and also a level of confusion to everything that he does and has ever done. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see other videos, you can check out the channel. And if you want to see a full-length literary layer on this at some point, tell me in the comments. I will see you in the next video. I hope this week's MASH video isn't too delayed. I don't know if it's going to be delayed just until like Sunday or Monday, or if it's going to take until next week. If it does happen next week, I might do a double feature, uploading 2 videos at once, or 2 videos in the span of 2 days, to make up for the fact that we lost this week, but we'll see how it goes. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all for watching, and if you liked the video, you can hit subscribe and watch one of my other videos. My videos can be found on any of these fine sites, and if you want to help out, maybe consider supporting the show on Patreon. See you next time.